1 of the NFL season has begun. We have actual football games. Now, who won? Who could have predicted what would have happened? Me! Lock in, boys. We are here to break down what happened in the Eagles versus Cowboys game, the first game of the season. If you want to see more breakdowns from every single game, we're talking about Chargers, Chiefs. We're talking about Sunday. We're talking about Monday Night Football. We need 5 likes on this video to make that happen. Go smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Please help us out. Now, if you boys want to see more and more of this, let me know. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to break down by the stats. What are we looking like in terms of how every player performed? What are the fantasy football ramifications? Let's go with the Cowboys first. Dallas Cowboys come in as 7-point dogs. I thought they stood no chance. I mean, the Eagles, they had the Eagle flying in. They had the Super Bowl unveiling of the trophies. Listen, Dak Prescott spit first, but he didn't spit on Jalen Carter. I don't know what Jalen Carter was thinking. Definitely his fault, 100%, maybe 95%, because Dak Prescott did spit first, but it wasn't on him. Hold it. There's different levels of spitting, okay? Get that in your head. A very weird start to the game. Dak Prescott looked sharp all night. Official stat line, 21 of 34, 188 passing yards. What's the problem here? Problem is 0 passing touchdowns. A lot of dump offs to Ferguson. Very, very impressive showing for the deep ball. Now, I would have liked to have seen some more shots to Pickens, but let's keep this in mind. Pickens had 3 catches for 30 yards on 4 targets. He also drew 2 nice pass interference calls. And then, like Pickens fashion, he obviously had the, let me get my emotions get the best of me. Bam, unnecessary roughness. You know, he pushed one of the defensive players. Now, you're going to get that with Pickens. But there was a couple deep balls thrown his way. Pickens could have had an extra reception. He could have had 4 for 60 if he hauled in that deep ball where there was defensive pass interference. The one in the end zone wasn't really catchable, in my opinion. That's the one target that was, fell uncatchable. So if you have George Pickens, I'm a little bit concerned right now. With George Pickens, what you can say is, all right, the Cowboys O-line actually played a little better than people expected. They didn't have Jalen Carter, but the Eagles defensive line is above average. So when the Cowboys go to play the Giants next week, Pickens they're going to have some more time in the pocket. They'll be able to have some deeper passes, deeper plays, longer plays develop. And Pickens might be able to get a couple more looks. Now, Pickens has never been that high volume guy. That's kind of a fluke. Like, he's going to have a couple games where he'll have high volume targets, but mainly he's the downfield threat. CeeDee Lamb, 11, was it 11? I think he had 11 targets. It might have been 11, might have been 14. I think it was 11. Anyway, he had 7 receptions for 110 yards, no touchdown. Although he did have a pass interference call in the end zone that probably would have been a touchdown pass if he wasn't interfered with. So he could have had a touchdown pretty easily. 4 drops. Everyone's overreacting. This is a good... The 4 drops might be best case scenario if you're a CeeDee Lamb owner. Do you want CeeDee Lamb motivated? Do you want CeeDee Lamb to put the team on his back more than he already did in week 1? Well, he's going to, because after the game in the press conference, he was like, listen, man, let me reenact it. I wish I had grills. Boy, you know what? That's all me. It's all me. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm going to come out, and I'm probably going to drop 250 yards next week against the Giants. That's an exact quote from CeeDee Lamb. You guys can go look it up. So next week, he's going to absolutely smash. Dak Prescott looked very, very good. He was able to unlock, the deep ball looked really good. CeeDee Lamb's drops, the one where he laid out, should have been caught. He had a couple right in his hand that he dropped as well, bobbled. They should have been picked, to be honest. Dak Prescott is, in a very small group of players where he threw no interceptions and finished with less than 10 fantasy points. It's going to be fine. If you're in a 4-point passing format, 4-point passing touchdown format, you're probably cooked. Like, Prescott's not as interesting there because there's no rushing upside. Prescott he actually had some room to run. He only got 3 yards because of how slow he is. 6-point passing touchdown, I still think a top 7 finish, top 6 finish is in the realm of possibilities for Dak. If the offense clicks, then they could be in a good spot, especially if they fall behind in games, which I know the defense looked good. I'm still not convinced. Let me see him against a couple other teams. We'll see if the defense holds. I think this Cowboys offense could be high-powered for fantasy, especially Dak and CeeDee Lamb. I think both look really, really good coming out of week 1. On the Eagles side of things, I hate to say it. Listen, I was not drafting many players from the Eagles this year. There's a couple players I was drafting. First off, Javonte Williams, I have as my most drafted running back on Best Ball. I hope you've been watching the videos. Now, Javonte Williams, I have in 26% of my leagues or something, maybe 27%. Smashed. 2 touchdowns. Now, his actual rushing efficiency wasn't great. 15 for 54, 3.6 yards per carry. He had 2 tutties. He did also add 2 receptions for 10 yards. Javonte is the true workhorse. Jadon Blue, healthy scratch. It's kind of interesting. Was he a healthy scratch or was he actually banged up? Because again, he's coming off that ankle sprain. I don't know how healthy he was. Miles Sanders did have a breakaway run, so he had 453, but he fumbled the game away on a silver platter. So Miles Sanders, you're cooked, buddy. I expect Jadon Blue to not be a healthy scratch next time around. Miles Sanders, you're done. Now, Javonte is very interesting. In your redraft league, I still think Javonte, I'd probably have him in RB3/RB2 range, probably closer to RB3. I think he's a good RB3. I valued him as an RB3 coming into the season, so I don't have to move him too much in my rankings. Let's not overreact. He had, without these 2 touchdowns, he had 7 or 8 fantasy points. 2 touchdowns is great, but can you really expect a multi-touchdown game from Javonte every week? No, because Dak Prescott had 0 passing touchdowns, so those will be passing touchdowns some games as well. So don't overreact here from Javonte, but it was a good game. It's actually exactly what I envisioned his role will look like. The Eagles, you got Saquon Barkley, and the main news here is that the offensive coordinator says to himself, we're going to be the same Eagles that won the Super Bowl. We're going to come in here, we're going to call the same plays, blah, 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 blah. A heavy dose of Saquon Barkley was expected, and that's what we got. 18 carries, 60 yards, and a touchdown. He also, this is very good news, he had 4 catches for 24 yards. I predicted that, okay, maybe we see some less rushing usage from Saquon, which we did. Will Shipley kind of looked like the clear RB2, 3 carries, 26 yards. I think he also might have been targeted once in the receiving game, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, Will Shipley looks like the clear RB2. Shipley was banged up. A.J. Dillon filled in a little bit. The Eagles' RB room looks pretty solid behind Saquon. But, if he takes a step back in the rushing game, he was more involved in the receiving game. So Saquon Barkley, if you're a holder of him, I think you're just fine. You're right where you are. You don't move his ranking at all. Jalen Hurts, 19 of 23, 152 yards. No passing touchdowns, but who cares? He had wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. 14 carries, 62 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. That's why you take Jalen Hurts. That's why he's my most drafted quarterback. If you follow me, you have a lot of Jalen Hurts in best ball and in your redraft leagues. I had him above Jaden Daniels coming into the season, and I still have him there. I think Jalen Hurts looked very, very sharp. Now the receivers, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I think that the A.J. Brown injury is concerning. I think it was hurting him. If you look at the actual stats, he had a 0% win rate. I think it was against man coverage, maybe zone, maybe just in general. But there's a deep stat where it's like, all right, basically how good are you? I think CeeDee Lamb had like a 33% win rate. I think Pickens had like 20%. I think Devontae Smith had like 8%. A.J. Brown had 0. Literally 0. I don't know what was happening. It looked like he was running around as a decoy out there, which might have been part of the game plan, to be honest. 1 target, 1 catch, 8 yards. But he actually he wasn't good. Like, he wasn't winning his routes, is what people are not talking about here. So that does definitely impact my ranking of A.J. Brown. I would be sliding A.J. Brown down probably to around the realm of Tyreek Hill. So you're talking about, like, he was drafted around an ADP of 16. I'm probably bumping him down to like 23, 24 overall in my rankings. Devontae Smith was very against him. I mean, I was not a big Devontae Smith fan coming into the season. I thought to myself, listen, Devontae Smith did have, 30 fantasy points last time they played the Cowboys last year. I thought maybe he could do it again. Maybe he's a decent start. The Eagles' offense does not have to pass the football. So if you have A.J. Brown, if you have Devontae Smith, there definitely are games where they will drop double digits. They are very good receivers. They're very good real-life football players. But the Eagles and the way the Eagles win games is not conducive to fantasy football at some times. So there's going to just be games where you get shafted. Factor that into your rankings. Trade them away. I don't know what to tell you, man. That's just something we've seen in the past. It's something we're going to see moving forward into the future. Saquon, Hurts owners rejoice. Eagles receiver owners, you're cooked, buddy. Dallas Goedert had a pretty decent game as well. Very short. His average yards per target was quite low, but he brought in all of his targets. I think it was a career high in targets, or a career high for receptions for Goedert. I think he had like 6 or 7. I don't know the official number. Here it is. He had 7 catches, 44 yards. Pretty good game from Goedert. 11 fantasy points. He was involved, but you obviously expect that to come down when they involve the other receivers. 23 pass attempts. Not very high, right? But we expect that from the Eagles. That is a full breakdown of the Eagles versus Cowboys and how it affects all the rankings. Solid games from both kickers. And finally, let's talk about some news. Mr. McCaffrey. Mr. McCaffrey. His calf. Hooked. I have 3% of CMC. I hope you faded him just like I did. I also have 26% of Brian Robinson Jr., so E-Rob Jr., RB1 season.